Hello and welcome to our 8th week. Can you believe it has been that long? I feel like time is going so fast. You have been in our class for 8 weeks now, and we are starting the next lesson. If you'll see up here at the top of this page, I'm just in the folder Lesson 8. It says Information Literacy and Academic Resources. So that might sound scary at first, but it's really about how to search for in academic resources for information that you'll need. And I'll show you if we click on our preview. Okay. You'll learn how to find and use information. This will help when you are preparing to write a paper. If it's not in this class, at least in future classes, you will have to write papers. And discover that there are a lot of academic learning resources through BYU Idaho. And there's a lot of, up here, techniques to use when searching for information that I wish I would have known when I wrote a lot of papers in my master's program. So this is something that I think you'll find will be helpful and useful for the rest of your life as you search for information. And then we'll learn and apply the skill of trying to guess the meaning of words from context. So that's like taking a new word and reading the rest of the sentence or sentences to see if there are any clues about what that word probably means. If you don't know, you can make guesses based on the context, the words around it, and how it's used in the sentence. So, one thing I really love is Elder Uchtdorf's quote here. Latter-day Saints are not asked to blindly accept everything they hear. So we aren't told that we have to just take everything without searching on our own. We are encouraged to think and discover truths for ourselves. We are expected, so I like that word, expected. It's expected of us to ponder, search, evaluate, and thereby to come to a personal knowledge of the truth. I know that it's something that we need to do is not just take everything without questioning. I think there's a difference between questioning and doubting. I think it's good to ask questions and search and become committed and converted on our own. So I'm just going to show you, like always, it's our application activity real quick. This is the one that I always try to give feedback because they're usually the longest assignments. All the others with our, let me just make sure, I'll go into the pre-gathering folder. Sorry, one second, I just gotta fix my computer. It keeps sliding off. Okay, the lighting's a little off today, but that's okay. Once again, remember discussion boards. We always do have the first one posted by Wednesday night. Let me just tell you the things that I grade. There's a lot of things that are graded automatically, a lot of quizzes, but there are things that I grade that I've seen. So as you scroll down this, reading and writing practice quiz, oftentimes I'll grade that. For the most part, I think just reading the instructions and making sure if it says write at least 2 to 3 sentences that you have at least 2 sentences. If not, I have to deduct points. So make sure you're just following the instructions. If it says write a paragraph, I look for usually at least 3 sentences. So that means the least you can have is 3, because that's what makes up a paragraph. Sometimes you have a really long, I've seen a lot of one long sentence that could be broken down into 2 and sometimes 3 sentences. The next thing, let me go into gathering folder. I think this is always informing me if your gathering gets canceled, if the missionaries are unable to hold it for one reason or another, just email me and let me know. Okay, so here's where you have the agenda. This is where you'll go if you are the lead student that's going to be leading the gathering. Then you give your attendance report, let me know if you attended. Post-gathering, we'll talk for a second about application activity. Vocabulary quiz. Just remember to write those vocabulary words into a sentence. And lots of times you guys do a great job of using that word in a way that I can tell you understand. Sometimes I just give feedback on not vocabulary, but the grammar or punctuation. Make sure you capitalize and use punctuation and periods. I read through the feedback that some of you gave, or your evaluation of me as an instructor, and I'm always trying to improve and be better and help you more. And so one thing that was expressed was a desire to have more feedback on your grammar. I've always had this hard balance of not wanting to bombard you or overwhelm you with too much feedback, but I try to pick out the sentences that I think you could learn the most from feedback on and apply in the next sentences. So I'll try. If you find that you think, I want more feedback than you're giving, email me. I'm trying to find that perfect balance. And then trying to find the best way to explain and help you understand why we do what we do. Sometimes English is really hard, to be honest. And we have weird rules as to why we do what we do, but I do my best to try to explain. And hopefully it's helpful so that in the future you can apply those skills on your future sentences. One last thing about the log before I move on. Make sure, a lot of you are doing great at doing an activity every day for the 5 days. So you're doing 5 activities. The only thing that I'm seeing is sometimes when it says, what did you learn? It asks you to write at least 2 to 3 sentences about what you learned, and you can include vocabulary. Sometimes I'm just seeing people just write the vocabulary that they learned, and that's great, but that doesn't make up 2 to 3 sentences. So maybe tell me, was there a concept that you understood better? Was there a new insight that you gained when you did that activity? Was there a quote from that conference talk you listened to that stood out to you that you're going to try to apply in your life? So do that as well as maybe a couple new vocabulary words in order to get those full points. I hope that's clear. And then sometimes I think it's great that a lot of you are listening to a lot of conference talks, devotionals, but I want you to look at the activities that you do and see, remember, we're trying to work on our listening in English and our speaking in English. If all of your activities are listening to conference talks or listening to songs or movies, we're not having a chance to speak and to use that time to build our speaking skills. So maybe try just one of your 5 activities being an activity that has you practice using English and speaking it. I think that's in your best interest to help you if you'll do that. Okay, quickly, the application activity. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is it says